Hello and welcome back to Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. In the last episode, we were investigating the crime scene and we learned about the McCoy family and why Flynhurst hated mages and the nobility so much. And in this episode, hopefully, we're gonna figure out the truth of what happened and get Celeste acquitted. The nameless defense attorney. Hi, Mr. Moore. Oh dear. We're just gonna roll with it. Cuthbert. How did the investigation go? I feel more prepared at the very least. I don't know exactly what happened, but I have a clearer picture of the crime scene. What did you find out? So, there are still no clues directly pointing to another suspect. Have you been able to coax any new details from McCoy? She's already told me everything she knows. She's not the one who killed Flynhurst, Mr. Moore. I'm sure of that now. You trust people far too easily, Cuthbert. You say that like it's a bad thing. It's going to get you hurt one of these days. People are never as innocent as they were. That is a crazy thing to say, because I know what you are, Mr. Moore. Oh, does that include you? What? Never. Commander White had a lot of things to say about you. Should I have listened to him? What are you trying to say? I'm saying that I've never believed the rumors about you, not for a second. You saved me when I had nothing, and taught me how to fight against the nobility. Everyone told me that you were a criminal. I wouldn't be here right now if I'd listened to them. Cuthbert, I'm not going to stop trying to see the best in people. Celeste is innocent, and I'll prove that to everyone, including you. You really can be stubborn sometimes. You know that? I get it from you. That seemed to get a chuckle out of her. I wish I could see the world the way you do, Cuthbert, but the truth isn't always what you want it to be. I know, but I'm not going to let that change me. I took a deep breath and readied myself. I was approaching the endgame now. All I had to do was move the final pieces into place and end this once for all. The bailiff led Celeste into the courtroom, and I followed closely behind them. Order! Court is now resumed for the trial of Celeste McCoy. Let us review the proceedings from yesterday. The defense has presented some unfortunate oversights made during the investigation. I personally saw to it that the crime scene was thoroughly inspected this time. I see. I suppose that puts my mind at ease, if nothing else. At yesterday's trial, we found an inconsistency between the crime scene photo and the autopsy report. Because of this, the defense argued that a third party must have interfered with the crime scene to frame the defendant. To clear any doubts you may have, the individual who discovered the body has decided to testify today. Really? It was my understanding that they wanted to remain anonymous. The witness in question was within the gallery of the trial yesterday. After yesterday's proceedings, he felt that he couldn't stay silent any longer. Very well, let's hear from this witness. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. My name is Rhys Rudolf. I am a chauffeur. I hope that... I made your voice way too similar to the judges. I'm sorry, Rudolph. Rudolph appeared to be writing about something in a notebook. His pen glided across the page, fill line after line within seconds. Mr. Rudolph. Forgive me. I was merely recording everyone present in this room. You're taking notes? I always keep clear and detailed records of my actions each day. I found that order in the present naturally brings order to the future. What? With such detailed records, your testimony about defendant must be thorough indeed. Actually, I witnessed much more than just the defendant. I saw the crime as it was being committed, and I wrote down everything that I witnessed. What? If what you're saying is true, why have you waited until now to testify? We had initially concluded that the evidence alone was decisive enough. We saw no need for Mr. Rudolph to testify. However, that clearly changed after yesterday's trial. There was no way the prosecution wouldn't use eyewitness testimony like that from the start. There had to be another reason why he didn't take the stand yesterday. Very well, Mr. Rudolph, please testify to the court and about what you saw last night. I was transporting a client to my carriage that evening. We were driving by the McCoy Tavern when we heard a disturbance. This occurred at 1:08 a.m. Worried that something was amiss, I walked into the establishment to see what the commotion was about. That was when I saw the defendant lift by the blue glow of the dining room lights. She had stabbed Flintheart, and her sword was shining with magical energy. She pulled her sword from Flintheart's back. As she turned to face her, she stabbed him again in his chest. As she soon realized that I had witnessed her heinous crime, she dropped her weapon, still impaling Flintheart, and fled the scene. Incredible. If everything occurred as the witness described, then I see no room for debate. Of course, the evidence has always been irrefutable. I didn't remember seeing another carriage when I left to look for Celeste, but it was pretty dark. I could have just missed him. Celeste, did you see him when you left the tavern? No, I don't think I've ever met him before. Does that mean what I think it means? We shouldn't jump to conclusions, but if he testified that you saw him, he's clearly lying. I just needed to find out why. The defense may now begin their cross-examination. Who was the passenger in your carriage? Well...
Objection!
The identity of the passenger is irrelevant. The current witness is the person who observed the crime. If there was another person at the scene, they may also have crucial testimony. The passenger is under no obligation to testify before the court. The current witness's account of the event is more than adequate. I agree. I see no reason for Mr. Rudolph to disclose the identity of his client. Shall I assume this disturbance was the argument between my client and her father? Yes, I heard two distinct voices, one young woman and an older man. Right, that also matched up with what the neighbors heard. What did you do after hearing this disturbance, Mr. Rudolph? You stopped your carriage in the middle of a job? What did your passenger think of this? He took no issue with it. What kind of passenger would be okay with stopping mid-drive? The passenger's thoughts on the matter are irrelevant to his testimony, unless you have hard evidence to prove otherwise. She objected whenever I brought up the passenger. There was something more there. Now then, please tell us what you saw in the establishment, Mr. Rudolph. You sound certain that you saw my client and the victim. How are you so sure it was them? Flintheart McCoy and his daughter were well known within the town. Flintheart had made himself quite known in the region through his social activism. And young Celeste tends to stand out whenever she walks through the streets. Is he hishing on me? It does make sense. You don't really look like the average commoner. Are you hishing on me? Be serious. Anyways, Mr. Rudolph, do you live in Cornhaven? I don't live there, but my work brings me into town quite frequently. The witness's place of residence has no bearing on his testimony. What matters is that he was there when the murder occurred. Steelwind kept deflecting questions about his life. So you're saying that my defendant stabbed him twice with her sword? Yes, that's exactly what I saw. There's only one visible wound on the body. If what you say is true, then that means she stabbed him through the same wound. Isn't that extremely improbable? Improbable, but not impossible. It may be strange, but that's what the witness saw happen. She was reaching with that, but I wouldn't get anywhere unless I could prove he was lying. You supposedly witnessed a murder, and you let the perpetrator get away? I'm just a simple carriage driver. I have no way of combating an armed assailant. The witness also saw the defendant using magic. Would you really expect a chauffeur to subdue an armed mercenary? I guess not. He probably came up with a detailed story beforehand and wrote everything down. I thought that was Celeste. His quirk is the perfect cover for him to read over his notes. It'll probably be hard to catch him lying if he has a way to keep his story straight. It's actually just the opposite. With this many details, it would be that much easier to find an inconsistency. I just needed to find it. I think it's the fourth statement, so... The blue glow of the dining room lights, and... is this it? Yeah, the electricity was out. Objection! Rudolph, you testified that you saw my client murdering the victim. And you supposedly saw her casting magic while doing so? Yes, I can never forget such a grisly sight. That moment was burned into my memory. I see. Well, it's funny that you say that. What makes you say that? Because your entire testimony was a complete lie. What? Are you accusing the witness of perjury? Surely you know that such accusations can be made lightly, Mr. Cuthbert. Miss Steelwind, the dining room lights and our artificial devices that are powered by an arcane power cell. I can speak. However, that same arcane power cell was broken during the time of the murder. Those lights had no energy, and the room would have been pitch black. The witness couldn't have seen anything, much less a homicide. Wait, I can explain. There's no need, witness. You could have easily seen another source of light. The McCoys probably lit a candle or a lantern because of the blackout. The witness clearly described the source of blue light. A rudimentary candle or lantern wouldn't emit a colour like that. Then the witness was clearly mistaken. The witness records everything he sees in his notebook. He even remembers the exact time that this encounter occurred. So why would he even be incorrect about such a clear and obvious detail? No, what the witness saw was some form of magic. Due to the lack of power, it couldn't have been artificial. It must have been an arcane spell. That's it. Witness. I was mistaken about something. Please allow me to revise my testimony. Mr. Cuthbert, what are your thoughts? If he thinks he saw something different, then it's only fair to hear him out. It didn't matter. No matter what he came up with, I'd tear through each of his lies. I remember now. Yesterday, they said Flynn was killed using magic. Yes? I must have seen Miss McCoy channeling a magic spell. The spell was called Mageblade, wasn't it? That's it. The blue glow I saw was created by Mageblade. Let me just check something. Yeah, it's a yellow glow, not blue. Okay. I see. So the blue light that you saw came from the defendant's magic. Huh. Mr. Cuthbert, you may proceed with your cross-examination. With pleasure. Are you changing your testimony based on yesterday's trial? No, that's not what this is. It's just that after I think about it, I finally understood what I saw. Wouldn't that be pretty noticeable and distinct? The crime scene took place in a village of farmers, and the defendant's magic was unknown to many until that night. What reason would the witness have to think that he was witnessing magic? He would just think that the sword was wreathed in a glow by some other means. That last part was a bit far-fetched, but I need something concrete to refute it. You seem uncertain about the spell you saw. How can we trust the rest of your testimony? It doesn't matter if he was unable to identify this specific spell. The only thing that matters is that he saw it happen. I wouldn't get anywhere unless I could present a clear contradiction. You still don't sound so sure of it yourself. I wasn't sure of it at first, but then I remembered that they found traces of magic at the crime scene. I didn't realize I was looking at a magic spell. It's really so hard to believe. I suppose not. Not that I actually believed him. He just keeps telling lie after lie. She was trying to keep her composure, but her fists were firmly clenched. He's trying to cover up his mistake. I'm sure he's just making things up on the spot now. He doesn't know how magic works. I bet he barely understands what Mageblade even does. Which meant that there had to be a flaw with his testimony. Mageblade gives a yellow glow. Objection! Rudolf, you don't know much about magic, do you? Of course not. Are you trying to say that I should have recognized Celeste's Mageblade? No. I admit that you probably wouldn't know what Mageblade looks like. But that's exactly where you made your mistake. My mistake? Rudolf, if you were aware of how Mageblade works, then you would know that the spell emits a yellow, radiant glow. Which means that the blue glow that you saw couldn't have possibly been Mageblade. This is ridiculous. What's the significance of seeing a blue glow instead of a yellow one? It's extremely significant, prosecutor. If the witness saw a blue magical glow, then he must have witnessed a different spell at the scene. Preposterous. You don't have any evidence to support that claim. That blue light made a large impression on the witness. He wrote it down in his notebook. He even mentioned the colour in both of his testimonies. I found it hard to believe that he'd be mistaken about something like that. So, what did you see, Mr. Rudolf? Did you see my clown in the scene, casting a spell that she couldn't possibly cast? Or did you actually see another mage at the scene?
Objection!
Your Honor, the defense is completely out of line. Let me remind you that perjury is a crime, Rudolf. If you are found to have lied in your testimony, I will personally see it that you're prosecuted. No, wait. No, that is quite enough of that. Sound like... Why did it sound like there was explosions? Okay, sure, whatever. Garrick Pierce had stood up from within the gallery and walked to the witness stand, shoving Rudolph out of his way. He'd broken several laws with that one act alone, but no one moved to stop him. The bailiff looked to the judge warily and awaited instruction. The judge said nothing. His eyes simply narrowed as he waited for Pierce's next move. Pierce, there is no need for you to take the stand. Nonsense. I have nothing to hide. I will not stand idly by while your case falls apart. It seemed that for the first time, The prosecutor had lost control of the room. What is the meaning of this, Mrs. Eelwind? This is Garrick Pierce, Your Honor. I am the Honourable Lord of Cornhaven and many other villages in that region. I'm afraid I must apologize. These misunderstandings have been entirely my fault. What do you mean, Lord Pierce? You see, Rudolf was not the one who witnessed the crime that fateful night. It was me. I was the one who saw the gruesome attack. I had my driver report the body so that I could remain anonymous. Are you saying that you had Rudolf lie for you? I simply dictated to him what I saw and had him repeat that to law enforcement. With what's been in the news lately, it simply wouldn't do for a member of the nobility to appear publicly in court. But alas, it appears the time for discretion has passed. Lord Pierce, regardless of your good intentions, this is a very clear act of perjury. I understand, and I will accept the consequences of that. However, I would be remiss if Rudolph's shoddy testimony allowed that girl to escape justice. Please, Your Honor, allow me to testify as to what I saw that night. Very well. This is highly irregular, but I believe the court will benefit from your testimony. However, know that this misconduct would not be without consequences. Very well. From the look on the Lord's face, it was clear he would only get off with a slap on the wrist. On the night of the murder, I found myself unable to sleep, so I took a leisurely carriage right around Cornhaven. I happened to be passing by the McCoy Tavern when I heard a loud commotion from within the building. Furious, I stopped my carriage and took a single step inside the establishment. That is when I saw the crime scene inside. I saw the defendant stabbing that poor man with her sword. Garrick Pierce, he's a member of the nobility. That also means he's a mage. Does that mean... There's no doubt about it, he's the only other person who could have left those traces of transmutation at the crime scene. He has to be the mage that we're looking for. He killed my dad. He's a murderer. Sorry, this must be a lot for you right now. Don't worry about me. Just take him down. That seems like a strange way to pass the time. Not that I believed him for a second. The witness's eccentricities are beside the point. What matters is that he was clearly at the scene. I wouldn't quite put it that way, however. I'm guessing this commotion was the argument between my client and the victim? One would conclude that, yes. We've gone over this point several times, but their voices were raised loudly during the argument. Is that unreasonable to say that the witness heard them from his carriage? If he was at the tavern entrance, then that would mean he would be where the W token is. You saw the entire scene from the entrance? It would be quite dark considering the lights weren't operational, even if my client was using Mageblade at the time. Ah, of course. I'd forgotten that detail. I couldn't see what was happening, so I used my magic to illuminate the scene. You used magic at the crime scene? Yes, I remember it clearly. I conjured a blue light to illuminate the scene. That same blue light must have been what my driver saw. I thought that Rudolf didn't witness the crime scene at all. If I had to guess, Mr. Rudolf must have seen the blue light from the carriage. Because of that, he made that detail a part of his testimony earlier. That makes sense. Rudolf was so sure that he saw a blue light, it would have been strange if he were lying about that. Which spell did you use to illuminate the crime scene? It was the Conjure Light spell. Conjure light. Luxona. For as long as the caster concentrate on this spell, a mote of magical light will be centered above their head. The color of the light is chosen by the caster and can be changed at will for the spell's duration. This mote of light provides illumination up to 15 feet of the caster and no further. Your Honor, if the witness used magic at the crime scene, then I'd like for his spell compendium to be added to the court record. I see no reason to invade the witness's privacy over a trivial illumination spell. I agree. The witness will need a stronger reason to requisition the witness's spell compendium. Right you are, Your Honor. Your wisdom is truly efficient of your station. Oh, shut up. I used the conjure light to illuminate the scene from the tavern entrance. From there, I clearly saw the crime scene unfold. Casting a spell seemed like a pretty significant detail to forget. For you, maybe, but for a practiced mage like myself, using magic is as natural as moving my arm. That could be possible. I use the Eye of Horus so much that I'm barely conscious of it half the time. Let me guess, did she step in from the opposite sides each time? Yes, now that you mention it, I do recall that happening. Although, I have no idea why she would do that. Unless you can prove that she didn't do exactly what I described. I suppose not. At least, not yet anyway. He keeps saying that he stood at the entrance the entire time. That has to be a lie. Right, if he stabbed Finhart, he would have been a lot closer to him. How would I prove that though? Anyway, it's the conjure light. Well, I guess the question is it this? Or is it the spell because it's 15 feet? I think because he mentions the spell, I'm gonna say the crime scene map.
Objection!
Cool. Pierce, you said that you illuminated the scene from the tavern entrance. Did you take a single step inside the building? Of course not. I remember it very clearly. I only stood at the entrance. Then maybe you could help me go over this map of the tavern. If we take a look at this map, that would place you right here where the W is. Of course. Do I need to repeat myself? Well, I find it interesting that you illuminated the crime scene from all the way back there. Considering that conjure light only illuminates an area within 15 feet of the caster. What? Pierce, conjure light doesn't behave like a normal light source. It only provides illumination up to 15 feet of the caster. If you were to say at the entrance, your spell wouldn't have shown you anything.
Objection!
The spell's range is irrelevant. We've already established that the victim would have been illuminated by mage blades. The witness clearly stated that he couldn't see what was happening. That was why he cast Conjure Light in the first place. But what does this mean? Lord Pierce, did you illuminate the crime scene or not? Well, I can answer that question for you, Your Honor. The witness did illuminate the scene of the crime. He illuminated it because he was standing right where it happened. Mr. Cuthbert, what are you guessing at? Your Honor, the defense would like to formally accuse Garrick Pierce of murdering Finhart McCoy. Hold on for a moment. This is absurd. I could have easily used a different spell to illuminate the room. And which spell would that be, Pierce? The specific spell escapes me. I'm not sure which one I use now that I think about it. You idiot. Well, maybe we can figure it out together when you relinquish your spell compendium to the court. Steelwind, say something! If you had listened to my instructions, you wouldn't be in this situation. You've made your bed, now lie in it. Oh, this is a new spread, I think. Steelwind, you treacherous! Order! That's enough. It appears that the prosecution has no objections. With everything that has occurred, I'm afraid I must ask Lord Pierce to relinquish his spell compendium to the court. Pierce's spell compendium. It contains the formulas for the following spells: Prestidigitation, Conjure Light, Conjure Water, Frost Wave, and Shape Liquid. We did it! We got his spell compendium! With that, the case was as good as ours. Or was it? She didn't even try to stop me from taking his spell compendium. I doubted she'd do just that despite Pierce. Prestidigitation. The caster creates a simple and harmless visual effect around their hand. This effect will last for as long as they maintain concentration on the spell. Causes water to magically flow out of the caster's hand. This water will flow so long as the caster maintains concentration on the spell. Frost Wave. Anything caught within range is hit with a blast of extremely cold air. Liquids hit will be immediately frozen, and organic life will immediately enter stages of hypothermia. Shape Liquid. While concentrated on the spell, the caster can magically manipulate up to 10 liters of liquid and form it into complex shapes. At any time, the caster can choose to freeze the liquid and solidify its current shape. While frozen, the caster can choose to make the liquid instantaneously melt. Your Honor, I've looked at the spells in Lord Pierce's compendium. Conjure Light is the only spell that he can cast that would shed a blue light. It's clear that his testimony and many of his statements were false. That little brat! Such insolence! Lord Pierce could very well be a suspect in the murder of Flintharsh McCoy. I'd argue that this presents enough reasonable doubt to acquit the defendant. Mr. Cuthbert, I acknowledge that Lord Pierce's actions are quite suspect. However, I will not pass a verdict just yet. There is much more we need to learn. What? That's not how it works. We prove that there's reasonable doubt. That should be enough to acquit me, right? In a normal case, maybe, but the situation is different for this trial. The public won't accept an unsolved homicide involving magic. Unless we can unequivocally prove your innocence, the court will keep drawing things out. What? But that's not fair. That's just how our system works. The kingdom has always cared more about easing public tension than delivering justice. Are you serious? The court will be suspending the trial of Celeste McCoy until further notice. We have no choice but to give the Inquisition time to investigate Lord Pierce as a possible suspect.
Objection!
Explosions all around. Possible suspect? The very idea is preposterous, Your Honor. What else did she have up her sleeve? Let's revisit the basic facts of this case. Flintharsh McCoy was murdered using a blade with a transmutation spell active on it. Mr. Cuthbert, why don't you tell me the spells that Lord Pierce knows? His spells are Prestidigitation, Conjure Light, Conjure Water, Frost Wave, and Shape Liquid. Which one of those are transmutations? I do remember what he does, but I just want to check. So it was either Prestidigitation or Shape Liquid. Well, I know which one it was, so. Wait a minute. You've realized it too, haven't you? The witness doesn't know any transmutation spells that can be channeled through a solid object. That can't be right. You're right. You're absolutely right, Steelwind. I love the updated phrase. I see. If all of that is true, that would still leave the defender the only possible killer. But he was the only other mage there. It has to be him. But he doesn't know any transmutation spells that could be cast on your sword. We can't prove that he stabbed him while using magic. Wait, how did he do it then? She was right. How did he do it? Since the beginning, I'd been bothered by the traces of transmutation magic surrounding Finette's body. Originally, I thought that the killer had somehow magically altered the sword and the surrounding wooden floor, but none of Pierce's spell could do something like that. Those transmutation traces were scattered all over the place. They didn't even fully cover the sword. So what if he didn't use the sword? What if he used something else? Order! The defense did cast some doubt on this witness's testimony. Nevertheless, I must conclude that he could not have possibly committed the murder. With that in mind, please wait, Your Honor. We still can't rule out Pierce as a suspect yet. What are you on about? Lady Steelwind just said it herself. None of my spells can be used to stab Flintheart. I don't know any spells that could be channeled through a blade. I think we're gonna go with shape liquid, and like he created liquid, turned it to ice, made the shape look like the sword, and all that. But you didn't use the metal blade, did you? What nonsense is this? The autopsy report clearly states that the wound was created by a blade. If he didn't channel magic through blade, how could he have possibly committed the crime? Steelwind, Garrick Pierce didn't kill the victim using the sword. He killed him using an object shaped exactly like a sword. No. Does he know the truth? What? I'm afraid I don't quite understand, Mr. Cuthbert. Your Honor, I'd like to bring your attention to Pierce's spell compendium. Garrick Pierce knows a seemingly insignificant spell called Shape Liquid. With it, he can control any liquid and mold it into any complex shape he wants. He can even freeze it, locking that shape in place. If he had enough water, he could create a sword made purely out of ice. No, is it possible that he... What do you have to say for yourself, Lord Pierce? That stubborn little brat. Pierce's breathing became frantic. He clearly wasn't prepared to be back into a corner like this. I could feel his frustration, stress, and fear emanating through the Eye of Horus. The board was set. I just had to deliver the final blow. I'll tell you exactly what I have to say, you commoner. I'm not the one on trial here. We're here because a bastard child didn't know her place. I saw the murder. I witnessed everything. That girl used her holy arts to murder her father because she lacked a noble temperament. Okay, so wait, what am I doing? I saw the murder. I witnessed everything. I think we just did a crazy map again. Oh, well, nope, that wasn't right. He claimed to have witnessed the whole murder, but I've already proved that he didn't in his last testimony. All I have to do is show the evidence that proved him wrong. So they just conjured out? Okay. And how, pray tell, did you see everything? If you recall, you testified that you only took a single step inside the inn. However, you would have needed to be within 15 feet to see my client would conjure light. Debatably, what I did first also works, but you know what? I'm not gonna complain, we're still alive. This again? If you're going to keep treading on that one detail, then I stepped further into the inn. I kept that out of my testimony, all because I knew that you and Tamora would use it against me. Lord Pierce. But you didn't just withhold that detail from your testimony, did you? You testified the contrary. You committed perjury, Pierce. Plain and simple. That's... And let's not stop there. For your story to be true, you would have needed to be within 15 feet of my client. According to your testimony, my client had just finished murdering her father. Wouldn't she have noticed you? If you were that close, then surely you were close enough to apprehend her. So why didn't you? Don't you have a duty to your citizens, you lord over?
Shut your filthy mouth! That woman was armed. I had no reason to put my life in danger. She was holding a blood-soaked sword. I was terrified when I saw her holding that bloody sword. She just murdered a man, and I might have very well been next.
So I think the sword's... What is this? I think it's just that the sword was in the body. She wasn't holding it. So it'll be this. But that can't be right, can it, Lord Pierce? This photo of the crime scene shows that the sword was left inside the victim's body. How could she still be wielding it if it never left the body?
What? Damn you! Damn you! Steelwind, why aren't you saying anything?
What? Steelwind froze. Even when I had the advantage, she always maintained her usual poise. But now she was scrambling for something to say. Nothing came to her. Lord Pierce, please calm down.
How can I remain calm when this charlatan is trying to frame me? This is a complete travesty. I came here to reveal the truth and testify against that criminal. And what do I get instead? Slander from this lowly peasant.
You talk about justice, but you committed several acts of perjury to twist the outcome of this trial. You don't care about justice. You're just here to cover up your crime.
You filthy little...
So admit it, Pierce. You created a makeshift sword with shaped liquid and used it to impale Flinthash. You shoved my client's sword into the wound, while the remnants of the real murder weapon melted. You thought it was the perfect crime, didn't you?
Wait, what did you just say?
What? Lord Pierce?
My apologies, Your Honor. It's just that I realized something absolutely hilarious. The offense has put forward an interesting theory, but there's one problem with it.
And what's that?
I think you said it yourself.
You should... Remember what I said 10 seconds ago. You shoved my client's sword into the wound, while the remnants of the real murder weapon melted. You thought it was a perfect crime, didn't you?
You're right. It would have been a perfect crime. Because any evidence that's... Because any evidence to support that theory would have evaporated with that melted blade.
What? No. He was right. Magical traces don't spread through physical contact. They are only detected on the objects that they are cast on. If he used a blade of water to kill Flinthash, all of the water he used to make that sword would have evaporated by now. That would mean...
there would be nothing left of the murder weapon.
You spent quite the tale here today, but in the end, you don't have a shred of evidence to support it, do you?
You have nothing.
Is there anything we can do? I became quiet, thinking through each piece of evidence I'd found. They all fit into place, except for one piece. Tyrion, why doesn't he say anything? Is it really hopeless? Any worry she had disappeared. She probably saw the look on my face. It was familiar to her. It expressed the same quiet certainty I had every time I defeated her. I wasn't sure how, but there was something left of the murder weapon. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been any traces of transmutation at the crime scene.
What is this? You can glare at me all you want. It won't change the fact that you've lost.
I despise people like you.
Huh.
You twist the kingdom's laws to serve your own ends. You trample on the lives of the people you're supposed to be serving and protecting. But as long as I'm standing in this courtroom, I will never let that happen again.
Huh?
Naught can remain concealed.
Oh, that's fun. Love the new horse symbol. I don't think that was there before. What did I just do? I could feel my head being dragged into the ground. It felt like it was about to burst. At the same time, I felt an extreme sense of clarity. It was as if nothing could be concealed from the Eye of Horus now.
I can't believe that peasant. He pushed me this far.
Once again, I saw Pierce's thoughts, but this sensation felt sharper than it usually was. I could feel his mind reacting to mine, as if it were a pond rippling around me as I stepped through it. I wondered, could I reach further in and pull something I could use? Eye of Horus. You've activated a new ability through the Eye of Horus. You can temporarily project items into the witness's mind and read their thoughts about it. These thoughts can sometimes reveal new information and grant you insight. Fill the insight gauge to proceed. I think it's the shape liquid spell is a good one.
After all the trouble I went to, I can't believe that I figured out which spell I used. Well, no matter. It's not as if there's any evidence that implicates me. I'm lucky that old fool had that bottle of water with him.
A bottle of water.
Well then, as ravishing as this had been, I believe it's time for me to be on my way.
Now, wait a minute, Pierce.
What is it now, you Cretan? I'll say it as many times as you need to hear. There is no evidence of a liquefied weapon at the crime scene.
Lotus juice. You're right, Pierce. If you use shape liquid on a body of water, the murder weapon would have evaporated entirely.
Bravo! It seems you've finally gotten that fact through your thick head.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves, Pierce. What if you did use shape liquid on a body of water? What if there were another type of liquid?
What are you going on about?
Pierce, shape liquid doesn't just work on water. It works on all kind of liquids. There was a shattered bottle next to the body. The liquid you used to form the murder weapon, it came from that bottle, didn't it? You're probably wary of leaving evidence at the crime scene. You must have decided to use any liquid you could find there. Luckily for you, the victim was holding the perfect quantity of liquid in his hands. That begs the question: if we had someone analyze the broken pieces of this bottle, would we find traces of transmutation magic?
No. Do you think you can bluff me? We've already established that any water I supposedly shaped would have evaporated.
Except the liquid contained in this bottle wasn't water, it was tea. Oh, was it tea? I thought it was soda, or fizzy drinks, or whatever it was. It was really tea? Huh.
So, what difference does that make?
A blade of ice made out of water would have evaporated entirely. But a blade of frozen tea would have leave a dried residue. The tea wasn't completely disappear.
No.
I wondered why there were so many traces of transmutation scattered around the crime scene. When I felt the texture on the floor, I thought a transmutation spell had caused some sort of chemical reaction with the wood. Oops. But the real answer was a lot simpler than that. The transmutation spell didn't alter the floor at all. It was just a stain from the spilled tea. I bet if we compared the tea residue on the floor to the residue inside the bottle, we'd find traces of transmutation magic on them. There's your murder weapon, Pierce. Oh, you have nowhere left to go. That's checkmate. Well, I'm just gonna... That is a new CG. I've never seen that before.
Bailiff, send for Orin.
The Inquisition needs to analyze the crime scene at once. We need to confirm the defense's theory. The time window to detect traces of magic is closing. I have the report from the Inquisition. Oh, what does it say? The traces on the sword, the body, even the floor, they all came from tea residue. We found those same traces on the shards of the broken bottle too. It's undeniable. Someone cast a spell on the liquid contained within the bottle. And the defendant has no such spell.
Ugh.
You really did it, didn't you? Why?
As if someone like you would ever understand.
Understand? You murdered my dad.
Murdered? Murdered?
Oh. I murdered her. I can't believe it. She's dead. Her smile, her beautiful voice, all gone. Oh. I deserve death.
Stop this nonsense. Father, you're grieving, but it will pass. She was only a commoner.
No, Father. I loved her, and I killed her.
Garrick, you sweet, innocent child. Flowers may be beautiful and bring you joy, but do you call it murder when you accidentally step on one own gun? These people, these peasants, they may resemble us, but you know deep in your heart that they aren't like us.
What?
We have the skilled lord's favor, and they do not. They were created to serve us, to be utilized by those of us who matter.
Father.
So don't fret so much over a simple commoner. By next month, you'll have completely forgotten about that wretched being.
How could I have been so blind? She was a simple flower, nothing but a worthless peasant.
They're all just peasants, all of them. Is it murder to protect my kingdom? Is it murder to pull weeds before they blight my land? That fool of a man was spreading poison, and I did my duty by removing him.
You're a monster.
I'm a nobleman, a chosen vessel of the scaled Lord's will. You all are nothing. Do you honestly think you can indict me? My word carries more power than 100 of yours.
Bailiff, escort Pierce to a holding cell.
Steelwind?
First-degree murder is punishable by execution, Lord Pierce. I suggest that you remain silent, lest you incriminate yourself further.
You can't be serious. You, of all people, must understand the situation I was in. Your father knows what it takes to maintain order, if not for me.
Shush your insidious mouse.
Ugh.
I will never understand your sick, disgusted mind. I'd sooner slit my own throat. Well, what are you all waiting for? Take him away. Yes, take him away at once. Oh, well, that's it. Okay. I can't believe it. We actually won. Tyrion, I know, Celeste. Tyrion. Teary-eyed, she threw her arms around me, embracing me tightly. I just stood there wide-eyed, looking toward the gallery members who were staring at us. I was unsure of where to put my hands. That was remarkable. Mr. Mora, I'll be honest, when I realized that the murder weapon had evaporated, I thought that the case was over. You did a great job of turning that around. It was just luck. If you'd used water, things would have ended very differently. It had nothing to do with luck. Not this time. You were able to deduce which liquid you used, and you did it just by looking at a few shards of broken glass. I knew your deductive skills were good, but that was incredible. It wasn't just deduction though. I did something with the Eye of Horse today, something I'd never done before. I had an amazing ability, but I was starting to realize that I knew next to nothing about it. If I wanted to use it effectively, I needed to learn more. You all are quite lively. Oh. There's no need for such hostility. No, I wouldn't expect any less from the Hound of the Eye Taker. What did she mean by that? I glanced at Miss Tamora, but she avoided eye contact with me. It was subtle, but our posture stiffened, and her brow clenched ever so slightly. I couldn't see any thoughts through the eye of Horus. I must admit, I was hoping to test my mind against yours directly. However, your protege proved to be a worthy adversary. Is this some kind of game to you? You almost condemned an innocent girl to death. The courts operate by having two powers of opposition. When those powers are balanced, justice prevailed, just like it did today. Your victory today was just the system working as intended. Working as intended. You know very well our system only exists to protect your people. You can act as sanctimonious as you want. That doesn't change that with each passing day, your father purchases more and more innocence. I know, but I'm not my father. I walk a different path. I know you have no reason to believe me, so I'll let my actions speak for me. I look forward to doing battle with you again, Tyrion Cuthbert. Gentlemen, why did you arrest Pierce at the end of the trial? I don't understand. He was right in a way. You didn't need to do that. He openly admitted to first-degree murder. Why wouldn't I have him arrested? Never mind then. I'm also looking forward to facing you again. Good. I hope to see you soon. I still couldn't tell what she was thinking, even with the Eye of Horus. She definitely wasn't the bloodthirsty killer that her father was. Well, that kind of killed the mood, didn't it? Not at all. I think we should celebrate. What are you thinking? There's this high-class restaurant in the upper quarter of Ratholm. They usually only serve nobles, but they let anyone in if they have enough gold. Wait, do we have enough gold? I have some connections with the staff there. Don't worry about it. These last 2 days mark the beginning of my journey into the world of law and magic. Our justice system was broken, rotten from the inside, but I had a voice now, and I would never stop fighting. With my skills and the Eye of Horus, I knew nothing could stop me. Or at least, that's what I'd hoped. This feeling, I knew it. His radiant soul is finally ripe for the reaping. Even this small speck of time has felt like an eternity. I can't wait any longer. I can't wait to see that wretched light drain from his eyes. William, please, I implore you. I know you're excited, but don't you think we are moving far too quickly? Lloyd Van Sanctus, the head of House Van Sanctus and the Duke of Commerce. His noble house is one of the 4 pillar families. His family is responsible for managing trade and commerce throughout Wyvengard.
Nonsense. Everything has been going according to plan.
William Frege, the head of House Frege, and the Duke of Finance. His noble house is one of the 4 pillar families and responsible for tax collection and the exchange of resources. House Frege owns and controls every banking house in Wyvengard. Lloyd Van Sanctus shifted nervously, his rat-like posture practically shuddering. William Frege, on the other hand, only seemed bothered by Lloyd's incessant chittering. They both held the status of Duke, but only William wore it rather than the other way around.
I have advocated for Arcurians more than anyone else, but I haven't had enough time to look into them. The Arcurians are an efficient yet simple folk. The only thing they care about is filling their coffers, and I'm quite proficient in that language. And what of that of Grand General? Who do you think pays for all of his soldiers? You may be able to get to the ground forces, but his extended family is something else entirely. If you treat him like this, they will respond in kind. Loyalty can be bought, the same as any other commodity. Every house has a weak link. It's only a matter of time before I find his. William! Enough! This meeting is an opportunity for us to finally pull the Minister of Justice to our side.
Oh wow, this is nice.
I will not squander it. We will take Wyvern from Lucio today. Grow a spine while you're at it. You're a duke for crying out loud.
Huh. Lloyd just exhaled deeply as he followed William to the meeting room. Oh god. I will say this is actually very interesting because this did not happen at all in the previous game. Your one over here, I think her name is Sybil. We did not meet her until the 5th case, until she, spoilers, but she kind of just died and we only knew her for like 5 seconds. The same goes for Freyga. I believe he is the victim of the 4th case, so this whole thing is very interesting. And maybe I'm crazy. I think the guy on the right is... No, the guy on the right isn't Lucio. That's a different fellow. But anyway. Let's just... Oh, they've arrived. Coraline Sybil, the head of House Sybil and the Minister of Justice. Her noble house is one of the 4 pillar families and is the most powerful of them. Her family has managed the judicial and legislative branches of Wyvern's government for generations. I also found it interesting that I didn't really understand why they killed her off. Like, her dying is fine, but like, I don't understand why they killed her so quickly after just introducing her in the original game. Because I feel like there was more to do with her because she was a Minister of Justice. I feel like there's a lot more potential for her, so I hope there's more to her here. See, you have nothing to worry about, Your Grace. Oh, this is the king, isn't it? Oh, huh. It seemed that the Minister of Justice and the High Speaker had already arrived. Coraline Sybil and Theon Arceus were the most powerful people in this room, in theory. They represented the justice system and the church respectively, but both of their heads were always in the clouds. Their dispositions made them more akin to cattle that could be distracted and coaxed with shiny trinkets. Coraline was always ruminating about fate and the cosmos. She'd often confused astrology with philosophy. Theon was blinded by his obsession with the Scale Lord and his stories. William was almost certain that his noble house had written half of those stories.
I was worried that something had befallen your convoy. I have been praying to the Scaled Lord for your safety.
Oh no, this isn't the king actually. Theon Arceus, the devout leader of the Church of Bahamut. I don't think I've met anyone who reveries the Scale Lord as much as he does. Well, this is definitely a new sprite.
You two are late.
Remus Vergile, a mysterious lord who appears to be close to the royal family. Apparently, he is the royal advisor to the King of Wyvern. I wonder why I've never heard of him before. I wonder, what could he be?
From the looks of it, we're not the only ones. Could the Grand General not be arsed to show up? It's because of his foolishness that we've gathered.
That's not entirely true.
Really? And what of his recent bloodbath in the countryside? Word on the grapevine says that his men tossed a clergyman from the top of a bell tower. The man is so bloodthirsty. We should check his pantry for the children he slaughtered.
William!
We have assembled here to discuss the lack of unity between the four pillars. Unity? Spare me. House Freyga, House Von Sanctus, and House Sybil are closer than they've ever been. The Steelwinds are the odd one out. Unity requires trust, and he has done nothing but spill the blood of the people we've trusted him to protect.
His recent actions have been excessive. No one here is disputing that.
My dear Duchess, his excess has merchants refusing to move caravans through the countryside. The commoners are crying for justice and turning to insurrection, something that the Grand General is supposed to put a stop to. The other nations whisper about us like we're a barbarian state dressed in fancy nobles. Trade has slowed. The Scaled Lord teaches that prosperity is a covenant between every man in Wyvengard. House Steelwinds carries the burden of protecting Wyvengard's borders. As mishandled as these situations have been, he's not massacring these villagers for his own amusement. He could have fooled me. A leader wins respect and loyalty. He doesn't hold his people hostage. Mark my words, if this bloodshed continues, the commoners will revolt. These recent insurrections are just the start, and this will only continue if we allow Lucio's daughter to take the throne.
If we're discussing Lady Steelwind's marriage to the Crown Prince, surely he should be a part of this meeting as well.
Please, what can that bright-eyed boy contribute to this conversation? The only thing he's good for is holding fundraisers and crushing red ribbons.
William, he's the heir to the throne.
Come now, the true rulers of Wyvengard are all assembled in this room.
Oh, I'll admit, the House of Lords has received more petitions against Lucio than any other general in Wyvengard's history.
The church has also been unable to collect as many tithes as before. Even the most faithful are asking whether the Scaled Lord would support such cruelty.
Their faith is faltering. This cannot be allowed to continue.
Well, that's not creepy at all. Oh, look who finally decided to show up.
Okay, how do we...
I know I'm late. I was cautioned in the brief. I find this gathering to be pointless anyway.
How dare you, Grand General? Have you no sense of respect?
What use would respect be to ones who can't command it? Will you demand my respect, Master of Abjuration?
Well, I...
Leave him alone, Lucio. We were just discussing your recent catastrophe in the countryside. From what I've heard, the death toll has been astronomical. Did you beat your record? If you have something to say, then say it plainly, Freyga. House Freyga would like to move to have the Steelwinds stripped of their authority and control of Wyvengard's military. Lloyd, Caroline, and the church agree with me on this matter. Is that so?
I mean, we of House Von Sanctus stand with House Freyga on this matter. I'm sorry, Lucio, but it's difficult to argue with Ogada. I will bring this matter to the House of Lords. We'll hold a vote.
Then the House of Lords should know what my agents have discovered. The Eastern Kingdoms have joined the Union. What?
Surely this can't be true.
It is. I'm sure Ardo Astralis will be announcing it publicly within the week.
Wyvengard is now the only nation in the world that hasn't joined their alliance.
Correct. The only thing acting as a deterrent to our enemies is the high evocation magic of House Steelwind. Do you think the House of Lords will be willing to oust the most powerful war mages from our ranks? Lucio. Now, if you're done gnashing your teeth, William, I have to meet with the rest of my house. We'll need to prepare in case the Luminites become bold enough to bring war to the western border. Lucio, wait! Damn it all! Since when were those Orientals so friendly with Ordo Australis? I can't believe the Luminites would suffer the company of those mud-eaten savages.
Actually, their culture is very rich. I, for one, quite enjoy many of their...
Shut up, Lloyd! We'll need to expedite our plans.
What?
Get the Arcarians on the line. I will have a word with them.
You have business with Acarus.
We're brokering a trade deal. I'm sure the House of Lords will be seeing it soon.
It seems the cosmos is in our favor then. They're the only ally we have left. Huh. Stay safe, Coraline. You too, Lloyd.
Please tell me those stories aren't true. Lucio! You already know the answer, Your Grace. How could you? I thought you never got involved in matters of the state. People are dying, Lucio. Children are dying under your watch. Do you truly think me capable of such atrocities, Your Grace? If you do, then strike me down now. You have the power to do so.
Huh.
You know I won't do that, Lucio. Then stay out of my way. What has become of all of you?
It never ends. Yeah, so you have a visitor.
Steelwind's bred again. I'm in no mood for another sanctimonious lecture.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Gary.
Jolene. Ugh. Time has not been kind to you.
Excuse you. I'll have you know that I still get mistaken for 20 everywhere I go.
I suppose some things never change. Let's get on with it then.
What?
Go on, yell at me, curse at me. I doubt anyone would lift a finger if you opened the cell and beat me half to death. So, do it. Well, that's okay. I forgive you. What? I forgive you for killing my husband, Garrick. Have you lost your mind? Do you think I feel any remorse? Do you still think I'm still that weak child? I just don't have the energy for it. I saw what that resentment did to my husband. It festered inside of him like an infection. I am the only family Celeste has left. If only you knew where she really came from. I don't need to. She's reckless, stubborn, and a little spoiled too. She takes after me in a lot of ways, and she takes a little too much after her father. But she's a good person. She's the kindest person I've ever known, and I'm proud to call her my daughter. Then you're a fool. Barry, Flynn didn't blame me for what happened to Effie. That's a lie. All he ever did was blame me. He didn't blame you until you shut yourself away in your manner. We were all in so much pain over what had happened, and you abandoned us. And you expect me to apologize for that? Effie always loved that spell. What? Do you remember how she danced in the lake while you shaped the water around her feet? She thought that spell was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. That person died a long time ago. Effie or you? You're a weed. Excuse me? That's all you are, Jolene. a wilting weed on the road, waiting to be trampled over by this cold, wretched world. Uh, do you think yourself virtuous for spewing such empty platitudes? Admit it, you hate me, you despise me. If you could stomach it, you'd climb into the cell and plunge a blade into my chest, just like I did to your husband. No. Right now, I only feel sorry for you. I never thought you were weak. You were the kindest person I knew. I miss that man, but you're right. He's gone now. Ugh. Good luck with your trial, Garrick. Huh, I don't need luck. With my connections, I'll be out of the cells by week's end. I'll show you. I'll show all of you. Your daughter will be of use to me yet. That was way longer than I thought it would be. Well, anyways, I want to end this episode here. This was a lot more enjoyable than the original. The scene with all the nobles and the flashback to Pierce's like past with his father. Those were all new stuff, and I actually really enjoyed them. It made the case way more pleasant, and I won't. I'll leave my thoughts till the end of the game, but I think that if things keep going like this, then this game will be much more enjoyable and be ranked way higher in my thoughts than the original. And with that, I want to end this episode here.